to introduce our panelists. So we'll start off with Marcela. If you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, your role, and kind of how that role works at Altice.
Sure, absolutely. I'm Marcela. My voice is a little hoarse, so apologies. I have been at Altice since about 2018, and I'm a senior director on the media team, working very closely with Ben, my leader, as well as our marketing counterparts. So Ben, you go next.
Thank you, Marcela. Good to see everybody. And yes, thanks to Brand Innovators. Awesome community, and always great to bring people together from lots of different industries and talents to talk about innovation and moving things forward. But yeah, so as Marcela said, I'm proud to be Marcela's team leader and with our colleagues back at the office doing the work today and virtually. But I lead marketing, media brand for Altice, and it's Optimum. We market and sell Optimum, although we're owned by Altice as a parent company. We also have News 12 and Cheddar and A4 from our advertising and news side, but we really focus on Optimum. But thrilled to be here.
Awesome. Well, that's a lot of stuff going on over there at Altice. And with all of that, I think this year you guys have had a pretty big challenge, something that not every brand always goes through, but from when brands do, I think you know that this is one of those huge challenges, is a huge rebrand. And I'd love you to tell me a little bit more about what that whole process looks like, from just inception to we're going to change the name to let's execute this thing and get it out the door.
Yes, well, no, good point. I was telling my friend Shamsul in the audience, who just spoke earlier, that I've been at the company a year. But when we first came in, Marcel, we've been talking about rebranding for a while, but the gauntlet was thrown to rebrand faster than I would have liked. So I'd start there, that it was definitely a big challenge to say, how quickly can we do it? So I'll start there. So we were thrown that gauntlet, and we worked with our creative partners and media partners to concept different ways we could come to market with a new platform and a refreshed platform to do the rebranding. We did a lot of testing, a lot of insights. I'm a big fan of that, and having data and insights drive and lead everything that we do. And that was also a new muscle in a way for creatively. Media at Altice and Optimum very sorted out, but creatively we didn't have the discipline and rigor for testing at an in-depth way. So we started there. We tested a variety of concepts and landed on two. It was a two-step rebranding. We had the first phase was called Let's Reconnect, and where some of our challenges, our friends from next door, right, we have had customer challenges like many folks in the telecom industry, but we recommitted to our customers to getting better and innovating and improving. And that was sort of the first phase of reestablishing our commitment to customers and to customer experience, and having proof points to show how we're getting better. And then phase two of the rebrand, when we fully rebranded and changed our name in the West. So I want to be clear, actually, in this important context, that here in New York and the New York area, many of you know Optimum has been Optimum for a while, and we were part of Cablevision. In Texas and Louisiana and California and West Virginia, other places we serve, we have 21 states around the country. We had a brand called Suddenlink. Okay, so that is no longer. That brand is now Optimum as of August. So that was a big part of the change, was shifting from Suddenlink to Optimum and becoming one unified brand. Anyway, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So when you're planning this whole rebrand, and it sounds like you have to do it pretty quick, how do you lead with that? Is this a media-led strategy? Is this creative-led? Kind of who's taking the reins there and coming up with this whole thing? And then from an execution standpoint, what does that process look like?
Okay, so it's definitely both. I mean, both media and creative, and fun fact too, that our teams were actually separate before I came in, as we weren't part of the one unified media and creative team. So now with my team, we brought us all together. So that was the first step, bringing the team together, right, and having more integrated partnership and just collaboration in general. But we created a platform. The platform that we're living now is called Get Closer, Go Farther, which I think just starting there, then Marcela can tag in on how we brought that to life in media, and we've done some really interesting things beyond just buying smart, efficient media related to it. But Get Closer, Go Farther, we didn't really have a brand platform. frankly, right? We were selling internet mobile TV, and of course, everyone in the telecoms was like, it's fast, it's reliable, it's great, come get it. But Get Closer, Go Farther through testing is more about having a mission and a purpose for us, that our purpose is to help our customers, be they consumers or businesses, get closer to the things that matter to them so they can go farther and achieve more in their life. Right? So it's really about their achievement and their success, which it always has been, but we never crystallized that. And it was really great from an employee standpoint too, from our frontline care teams and retail teams and sales team and field teams installing, and servicing people in market to get behind that too. That it's not just the functional, we provide cable, TV, internet, mobile, but having that platform set, and then how can we bring it to life in media in unique ways as well. So we'll tag to Marcela.
Sure. From a media standpoint, Optimum has historically been very focused on our KPIs, and our media mix has been historically focused on driving sales and lower funnel. And with the rebrand, we did have to some extent, get the entire organization on board that we were going to really go beyond that, shift our media mix a little bit, do some things that were outside of the box, do some things that were not the traditional, direct mail and, things that worked tried and true sales driving tactics. So it was really a transformation for us. And, we learned a lot. We went outside of our comfort zone. From a media standpoint, we took channels that we've been traditionally in. A perfect example is social media, really using it historically to drive, offer messaging. Out to working with influencers and working with gamers and working with, messages that really drive brand affinity and tap into our local communities. Local was a huge focus for us during the rebrand because that's true. It wasn't a rebrand. It was a convergence of our Suddenlink brand into our Optimum brand, which already existed. So we really had to go into those local communities that knew Suddenlink as a brand because it was there for so long, and talk to them in the voice that was very local. Hint, hint, Digital Out of Home helped.
Exactly. Partner. Good partner.
Awesome.
Good plug.
Awesome.
But that was a big shift in mentality from a media standpoint. So.
No, that's interesting. I mean, that balance is something that I think everybody struggles with, is how do you go from this big branding exercise to then maybe trying to reach subscribers and get them to actually convert, and balancing that with a rebrand is a huge monumentous task. So you mentioned we're partners. Have you ever been up here with a partner before, Ben?
Never. No, I mean, I've interacted with many partners before, but never actually had the
How many years with Brand
opportunity. I've been with Brand Innovators since the beginning. This is awesome. No, this is a first for me, but thrilled to have us here together, Dave.
Well, this is awesome. I'm selfishly going to talk about Digital Out of Home a little bit. I was actually doing some prep this morning, and my 6-year-old was saying, "Hey, Dad, I have a good question you should ask them. Do you even like Digital Out of Home?" And I was like, that is a pretty good question.
No.
So I figured now would be a great time to ask, and I assume the answer is yes. So why or why not would be the question. So.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, for anyone who's not familiar with our business, it is very regional. Our service isn't available everywhere. It's available in certain parts of where our serviceability footprint exists. So everything from a media standpoint is that much more challenging. In order to drive mass awareness, it's not really mass because it has to be localized. So, especially during the rebrand, but also during other times, we're really looking for ways to drive awareness of our products and also reach out to our local communities. But we also, you mentioned this before, Dave, but we also have to drive performance. And so Digital Out of Home allowed us to meet the best of both worlds, among other tactics, and really surgically execute our media plan in local communities, but also do something splashy, cool, and measurable.
That's awesome. So you mentioned
Dave, I'm going to add to that. No, I like Digital Out of Home, but also because of the brand lift studies and the other studies, right, back to build on your point on tracking, like to be able to sell that and communicate that internally. Because one of our big things, right, was selling brand in general, right? Like this, to Marcela's point, I want to be clear, like, we only pretty much did acquisition and product marketing. So the idea of brand and local, to your point, and doing, more out of home and other things that we do traditional out of home too, but to be able to measure that with digital is awesome, and to have a more dynamic, medium and less lead time to change things up. There's a lot of good value to it.
I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel these displays are in your community. We all trust them. So there's this air of approval that goes along with it. So as much as you guys want to talk about digital out of home, I could do it all day. But let's kind of move on to branding and performance, because that's been a hot topic. How do you guys, and I'd love to know, how do you balance that at Altice when you're thinking about brand and performance, and how do you pivot, right? So you're doing a rebrand. The rebrand's done. So you're eventually going to have to change tactics. And how do you have a system that enables a pivot like that with a company as large as Altice?
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, we've historically been very focused on performance in our media mix, right? But I think that the key thing is, first of all, having a portfolio-based measurement approach where we're not just looking at one metric. We're looking at a portfolio of metrics and key indicators that show how our sales are doing, how our traffic numbers are doing, but also how our brand is performing. NPS scores were mentioned here. I know we're another company that, you love to hate your internet provider. Having a media mix that supports all those different objectives across the funnel, and also being able to pivot as needed. So if there's a need for a pivot to focus on more, sales performance, whether it's the end of a quarter or whatever, so be it. But also, having, evangelizing that, strategy of having a full funnel media mix. And one of the things I know we talked about is our team on the media side, we're not split up that there's a brand media team and a performance media team. We do it all, and that allows us to really weigh and prioritize accurately since we have purview. So those are key factors.
And how's that working for you today, and what does success look like?
So like I said, success, it's a portfolio measurement approach, right? So we are looking at sales. Obviously we have to look at the bottom line, but at the same time, we are looking at, particularly with the rebrand, how well our Optimum brand is faring, and the West footprint that was rebranded, and also how the likability of our brand is. We try to improve upon people's perception of our brand, and seek to have our media programs do so. When we're looking at a community partnership, let's say, or when we're looking at a local event sponsorship, we're really trying to get into the community to improve. That's not a sales thing. That's more about the people thinking of our brand in a positive way. So there are a variety of different performance metrics that we're looking at, we're trying to improve on.
Yeah, Dave, I'd add one more with our friends at Nextdoor here too. To your point, for me, success beyond the business is to have more people happy on Nextdoor. No, but to your point about the brand, brand health measures, those are being looked at senior levels and CEO levels on a regular basis, and we want that. That's important, right? It's not just about the pure business metrics, but how are people viewing you in the community, as Marcela said, and how are we shifting perceptions overall for the brand? So having both of those things, the brand and business measures at the forefront with our leadership team, and that this is a living, breathing thing that we all contribute to is part of the transformation too. We're part of the rebrand. We're it's not just us doing a marketing campaign. Every single touch point we have with the customer matters, and the conversations that neighbors are having are the real conversations in the world. So it's sort of holistic across both. But yeah, we have a lot of work to do, and that's the fun part. We're a work in progress, and we've made good strides throughout this year, but we want to keep innovating and improving, both from a business standpoint and from a hard media metric standpoint and perceptual messaging, reception standpoint.
Yeah, and I know we talk about like media metrics and analytics, and honestly, I get bored a lot of the time when I talk about this stuff. It's like, it's like, what do these numbers even mean? We made them up. So a lot of the time, like, I even think like, if you have a terrible creative, nobody's going to respond. There's so much of this that is emotional. From a creative best practices standpoint, how do you guys think about that, and like what goes into that process at Altice?
Again, I'll say that, again, the discipline of testing here and is good now. Like, we're testing concepts before we create advertising, right? Before, a lot of it was testing after the fact or testing in flight. And I know that may seem obvious to you, but we had to, shift that discipline and shift our timelines. And it's challenging in telecom, too, with offers and things moving super fast with pricing and changes, that sometimes we don't get the offers that quickly, and then we're like, we have to quickly turn around and be innovative. So it's a balance, but again, I think the testing, getting ahead of it, and pushing our cross-functional partners to plan further out enables us to make better creative. But I think that, like, this year with our media metrics and who we've brought in via sales, right? We have a churn problem, like all telecoms do. We got to keep more customers, but bringing them in, we've done a really good job of doing that this year. And it is the combo, Dave, to your point, of having good content that's relevant and showing the human benefit to what we do, and then putting it in really great media environments and bringing that to life. That's driving positive trends, and we need to accelerate that.
And are there any creative best practices on the media side that you think about when it comes to like executing all of this? Because I'm sure that's a big task that comes down to your team in the end, Marcela.
Sure. I think there are a lot. We talk about ultimately, so we're looking to position ourselves as a connectivity company, right? Connecting people, like Ben said earlier, to what they really want. So everything has to be in that theme, and everything has to be cohesive. We have a ton of creative best practices from the, just in the nuts and bolts from the length of the video spots to how to treat social. And I think a lot of it is really connecting with consumers. Like, when you think about video and social and all the channels that are important nowadays, it's really about connecting with consumers, which ladders up to our brand, right? So less, I would say, just about, like we've done historically, like really what our offers are and what our price points are, although we're still focused on that, but more about connecting with our communities.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, looking ahead, what's next for Altice? You had this huge rebrand. I'm sure that took up a lot of time. Sounds like it had to be done pretty quick. I'd love to know a time frame on that. What was the time on getting that whole process?
Look at it this way. Ben's been with us for about a year, and
yeah, exactly. No, we like in February or March we sold. February we sold it in, and we started the first phase in April. Like, that was really quick. That's true. But then August was we decided mid-Feb, end of Feb, and then in August it was completely rebranded. There are still some trucks that are working on rebranding, to be fully candid. By the end of December, that'll be done. Other than that, everything else is sorted out.
If you want to put any digital screens on those,
Dave,
you could call me. Yeah, but looking ahead, like what's next for you guys?
I think this is, even today we're working on some 2023 decks and things, but it's harnessing the momentum, right? Like, since we've had this moment to start new in the West and to refresh here in the East, and we've gotten new interest, right, and more traffic and calls and exciting stuff from a media standpoint. But how do we harness this momentum and really unlock more growth, especially in a challenging environment like we all know? So I think, but the good thing is in these environments, like you said in the beginning, Dave, like, it forces us to prioritize. We can't do it all, and I know we all say that with our leaders and clients and friends, who we work with all the time. But now you really have to do it. And we've been having budget conversations and everything. We're all in that season, and we're like, the trade-offs need to happen, and we really need to get highly targeted, right, and highly specific on what we're gonna do. But I want to, personally, my last point is I want to add, we continue to add value from a customer standpoint and make input. I keep looking at next door. I'm like, I really want to get, better interaction. But, continue the customer experience innovation, and then obviously our teams keep pushing creatively, and we are pushing our agency partners as well, to partner with us as equals in terms of being accountable for their results and shifting things forward.
Yeah, and I mean, innovation is really born out of efficiency. So when you need to kind of change the organization to face a new challenge, that's where we see a lot of innovation take place. And this is to both of you. What are you most excited about for 2023, and what are you looking out for? Metaverse, next door? Next door in the metaverse?
Yeah, Marcela, you go. Tag.
I am excited about, I do think that 2023 is going to see a little bit of a return to efficiency. So just tying it to your previous question, I don't think that our media mix is going to be quite like it was in the rebrand. And I don't think it's going to be quite back to 100% DR. I'm hoping we can take the things that we've learned and apply them, apply the things that have worked the best for us. So I do think that some of those things that we've learned that I'm excited to continue and expand on is our work with gamers. It's a really important audience for us because I heard they need high-speed internet. And then another thing is influencers and influencers around sports that we actually started to work on in 2022 that I really hope to grow and learn more about. And it's really new territory for Optimum, and I'm excited to expand it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I just add, for me, right back to the campaign, Get Closer, Go Farther, that's in market. We're going to have this run, it's running now, it's a run for the time, but I'm excited about what's next too. We have to keep things fresh creatively, and we have a new CEO, and we were talking about that the other day. He's like, what's next, to your point? And we're like, well, we're going to work on that. We're going to develop that. And that's exciting, right? That from a content standpoint. And again, I think from a media standpoint, you hit the nail on the head, Marcela, that again, opportunity. I don't want to go back either. So we gotta go forward. And proving that, I think all of us are in the game of proving that brand to demand, and it works. And I think we know it, but we need to, and we have proven it thus far in this current phase, but keeping that belief going and continuing to, push the envelope, and to get more human, again, with a lot, like you were saying, with influencers and whatnot, continue to bring the human benefits to life, not just the product only.
That's awesome. I think that's a perfect time to open it up for questions, if anybody has.
We stand between everyone and the bar. We have 8 minutes. This is
closers.
Great.
Let's go.
She's running around there.
Questions. Go a cappella. Yeah.
So, quick comment and then a question. So, a comment I was just telling Darren, my last name is the same last name as one of the founders and CEOs of Cablevision. So each time I'm at a media event, I actually always meet people from Cablevision.
Is it Dolan? It's pretty common.
It is.
Pretty common Irish.
We actually have someone on our team too who's not really Dolan.
But I am curious as well about how you guys think about your customers, right? Is it anybody that lives in your certain zip code because you're pretty sparse and you're saying that whoever lives here should be an Altice customer, or do you guys actually do what most marketers do and you're like, here's an audience profile, let's try to find this person?
That's a great question.
Oh my God, literally talking about that yesterday.
Okay, when I first came, my boss was like, I want everyone. And I'm like, they do. From a business standpoint, right, we want everyone in the footprint, but we all know that there's all different neighborhoods and different people and different dynamics, even in small footprints in the quote, rest of the country outside of New York. So it's both. So that's the truth, right? I'm Marcela, I don't know, would you say from a media targeting standpoint, it also is both,
So our footprint, it's pretty finite. So it is everyone, just because, our leadership tells us to go make, make good on every opportunity that exists, right? At the same time, I think, when we look at our media planning, we think about who are our low-hanging fruit prospects and who are maybe more difficult to obtain. And we have a lot of different strategies that kind of attempt to address that. And, whether it's bidding strategies in digital or, geographic strategies that we're focused on, there's certainly a reason to our, it has to do with, the customer, the profiles of our prospects, and how we think about who might be a better fit for our service.
So what would make one customer better than a different customer if they're both buying the same thing?
Customer or prospect?
Prospect.
You're getting into trade secrets here.
We could chat over cocktails later.
So that with the drink. No, but I think all customers are valuable. Truly, we want everybody to be a customer. But
if you're more likely to sign up, you're
sign up,
sure.
basically. And more products is better than one. Yeah, but internet is the core, but internet, mobile, and obviously for those who have TV is relevant. But yeah, we want everyone. But we do have segmented with movers and multi.